Good day children, I hope you're all fine. Today we shall do the second part of our lesson, Glimpses of the Past, from our English textbook of class 8, Honeydew. This lesson shows us pictorial glimpses of the past, of our history between the period of 1757 to 1857. In a previous session, we learnt about the conquest of our country by the East India Company. We learnt about the conditions that prevailed which led to the conquest. We learnt about the oppression that the British did on our Indian natives. We learnt about our progressive leaders like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who tried to bring about progress and development in our country and who tried to do away with superstitions. We learned about our great singer Lata Mangeshkar, who sang the beautiful and soulful song "Ae Mere Watan Ke Logo" while our three prime ministers listened on, remembering our martyrs. So today we shall continue with the lesson and learn about the conditions that prevailed in our country which led to the First War of Independence. This unit is about dissatisfaction in the period 1835 to 1856. Education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit. Persian being the language of the Muslims and Sanskrit of the Hindus and some other religions as well. In 1835, an Englishman named Macaulay suggested a change. Here in this picture, he is talking to Governor General William Bentinck. So Lord Macaulay believed that natives should be taught through English language. William Bentinck agreed with him. Lord Macaulay felt that there was a need to produce by English language higher education a class of persons Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, morals and in intellect. They wanted to transmit Western learning to India. The British did not want to learn Indian languages because there were too many Indian languages. They wanted Indians to do their clerical work. English was the language of communication and all administrative work which was done in English. They wanted to propagate and spread Christianity through English language. So English language produced clerks to whom the British gave petty jobs under them. It also produced a new generation of intellectuals. Here in this picture, we can see them discussing how they can improve the lot of their countrymen. They are saying, we must educate our brothers and try to improve their material conditions. For that, we must convey our grievances to the British Parliament. Once Indians learned English, they were able to widen their knowledge. It helped them learn how the rest of the world lived, how the British thought. They learnt about the ways and the thought processes of the British. They learnt about the striving of other countries for freedom from the British. So this also helped us in our freedom movement. And it also helped us relate and communicate with people of other countries who helped us in our freedom movement. Children, look at this map of India. By 1856, the British had conquered almost the whole of India. We can see the areas colored in pink are the British territories, and the ones in yellow are the states under the Indian princes. Now when we compare both the maps, the previous map being of 1765, we see how they have expanded their clutches on the Indian states through their divide and rule policy, and how the short-sighted Indian princes fell prey to them. Children, one really wonders how a small country like England could rule over such a big country like ours. And not just India, but also over a large number of other countries who are now called the Commonwealth countries. It is amazing how they can rule over countries which are so far from them. Just think about it, children. They cared little about the Indians, and the common folk are discussing their own plight. So in this picture we see one of the common men saying, our kings have become puppets and we have lost our old jobs. The other one says, and lands. This, children, you're already aware of, that the farmers lost their lands due to the heavy taxes, due to the fact that whatever they grew Nothing got them any kind of a profit. They could not survive on those lands. Then the other man says that they are converting our brothers. What were the brothers being converted to? What were the other fellow Indians being converted to? They were being converted to Christianity. The British started converting people to Christianity through their missionaries. Then one of them says, you only talk, do something to drive them out. So children, just cribbing and talking about a problem does not get one anywhere. Action is very important. One has to do something to resolve a problem. Getting freedom was not the effort of one or two people. It was a large-scale movement in which the leaders and the masses all had to participate. This unit is about the sparks of revolt, the sparks of mutiny in the period 1855 to 1857. Here in the first picture, we see the Santhals declaring a war against the British. And the Santhals are fighting with bows and arrows, with torches and javelins and spears. We can see a lot of fire there. They are attacking with these weapons of fire. Santhals are a tribal community. They live in large parts of Jharkhand, West Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. They live in the forest regions and survive on hunting and food gathering. After the Battle of Plassey, the British gained control over their regions. They started cutting the forests and growing cash crops like poppy, jute, indigo. Then they introduced the permanent settlement or the zamindari system. Under this, the zamindars would have a perpetual and hereditary right over the land, so long as they paid a fixed revenue to the British government. The British auctioned the land belonging to the Santhals, and the Santhals were reduced to hired labourers. Then they introduced currency, which did away with the barter system. Now the Santhals did not own any money. Then again they had to borrow money from money lenders for their daily needs. They were under such huge debts due to this system. Then the British also started taxing them very heavily. So these Santhals were very unhappy about losing control and rights over their land. They were very unhappy about the new land rules. They became desperate. In 1855, they rose in rebellion and massacred Europeans and their supporters alike. In this picture, we see that discontent was brewing in the East India Company's army also. So we see all these soldiers talking to each other. One says, the white soldier gets huge pay mansions to live in and servants. So they are feeling that they are not getting the same advantages, the same benefits. The white soldiers are getting a very huge pay. They have very big houses to live in and they also have servants. And at the same time, like the other soldier comments, while we get a pittance and slow promotions. So the Indian soldiers got a very low pay as compared to the British soldiers and they were getting very slow promotions. Rather, they were not given the higher ranks in the army at all. The Indian soldiers were serving only on lower ranks. They were never made officers. The Angrez asked us to cross the sea, which is against our religion. Who is the topi wala to abolish our age-old customs? So amongst the Hindus, it was believed that if they crossed the seven seas, the seas at all, they would lose their religion. Now the soldiers do not want to give up their customs just to obey the British. So they're very unhappy with the system. And then Sepoy Mangal Pandey thinks we must drive out the Angrez. Sepoy Mangal Pandey attacked the adjutant of his regiment and he was executed for that. Thousands of other sepoys revolted. They were stripped of their uniforms. Now what was the reason for this revolt? Apart from these obvious reasons that they were not getting the promotions, that they were getting a very poor pay, they were made to work way more than the British soldiers, they were not getting the promotions, they had to live in meager salaries, their living conditions were also not very good. But the immediate reason was that they had to bite off cartridges which were coated with grease. The grease was made of either pig fat or cow fat. Few Englishmen had cared to understand the Indian customs or the people's minds. The British did not realize that they should not infringe upon the feelings of the Indians, that they should not try to break off their customs. "Oh, proud Brahmin soldier, do you know that the grease on your bullets you have to bite is from the fat of the cows and the pigs?" "What?" says the Brahmin soldier. And the Muslim soldier also, he says, "The white man has deceived us too. Because for the Indians, for the Hindus, a cow is like a mother. They would never eat cow meat. And it was even blasphemous to think that they would eat cow fat or they would touch cow fat with their mouths." The Muslims believed the pig to be very dirty. They do not eat pig meat at all. So it was blasphemous to think that they were putting the fat of cows and pigs in their mouth while they were biting off the cartridges. This actually became the immediate reason for the revolt of 1857. So Sepoy Mangal Pandey attacked the adjutant of his regiment and he was executed for this. Several other sepoys were also shot at, and a very large number of them were stripped of the uniforms and sent to jails. They were humiliated and put in irons, and they were sentenced to 10 years in jail. In this picture, we see that chapatis were sent from village to village to tell the people that their emperor would want their services. So we see one man giving a set of chapatis to the other, and there's a message that they should all join hands, that all the common folk should join hands to support the Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. So the other man says, "Yes, all my village men will be ready." So this man is perhaps the headman of the village. So now this is a secret way of spreading the message that everyone should gather together and revolt against the British. Similarly, lotus flowers were circulated amongst Indian soldiers. So our Indian soldiers, you can see over here, "Death to the foreigner." The masses gave all the help and shelter to the patriots. Children, let's have a quiz now. Tell me, who rebelled against the British in 1855? The options are Bhils, Gonds, Santhals, Marathas.
Santhals.
That's the correct answer. What was circulated from village to village to tell the common people that the emperor would want their service? Letters, telegrams, lemons, chapatis.
Chapatis.
That is correct. Which flower was circulated among Indian soldiers as a symbol of rebellion? Lotus, rose, marigold, jasmine.
Lotus.
Well done. Who recommended the introduction of English education in India? Robert Clive, Lord Macaulay, Lord Dalhousie, Lord Hastings.
Lord Macaulay.
That's the correct answer. Very well done, child. In which city did the revolt of 1857 start? Meerut, Delhi, Kanpur, Bareilly.
Meerut.
That is correct. What led to the revolt of 1857? Discontent among soldiers, discontent among common people, discontent among Indian leaders, all of the above.
All of the above.
That is correct. There was a lot of discontent among the common people, the soldiers, as well as the Indian leaders. This section is about the revolt of 1857. Children, such a situation developed in northern parts of India in 1857. Like after 100 years of conquest and administration, the East India Company faced a massive rebellion which started in May 1857. And this threatened the company's very existence in India, the very presence in India. The sepoys mutinied in several places beginning from Meerut, and a large number of people from different sections of society rose up in rebellion. It is considered as the biggest armed resistance to colonialism in the 19th century, anywhere in the world. So the sepoys in the regiment at Meerut, they refused to do the army drill using the new cartridges. So 85 sepoys were dismissed from service for refusing to follow the orders of biting off the cartridges, which were coated with fat of cows and pigs. They were sentenced to 10 years in jail for disobeying their officers. The soldiers marched to the jail in Meerut and released the imprisoned sepoys. They attacked and killed the British officers. They captured their guns and ammunition and set fire to the buildings and properties of the British. They declared a war on the Firangis. From there they marched to Delhi. The sepoys all declared Bahadur Shah Zafar their king. Long live our Emperor Bahadur Shah! The rebellion spread wider. Many landlords had lost their lands because of the British policies. They were very sore. The white man's rule must end. Yes, we will help you, says the zamindar. So now you see till now who all have joined the rebellion. The common people, the zamindars, the army, the tribals, everyone revolted against the British. The zamindars also joined the revolt for the love of their country and also that the British were imposing very heavy taxes on them. They were also forcing them to provide men for the army. And it was difficult for the zamindars to cope up with this. Children, let's have an activity now. In comics, what the characters speak is put in bubbles. This is direct narration. When we report what the characters speak, we use the method of indirect narration. Now, for example, when you study this picture, you see that the farmer says, "Your men have taken away everything." The officer says, "You are still in arrears. If you don't pay tax next week, I'll send you to jail." Now, when we say this in the indirect form of narration, we say, the farmer said that their men had taken away everything. The officer replied that they were still in arrears and warned them that if they did not pay tax the following week, he would send them to jail. Now, children, I would like you to practice the same. So, you look at this picture, we see three men talking to each other. The first man says, "We must educate our brothers." The second man says, "and try to improve their material conditions." The third man says, "For that we must convey our grievances to the British Parliament." Now, child, I would like you to put these words in the form of indirect narration. The first man said
that they must educate their brothers.
Good. The second man added that
they should also try to improve their material conditions.
That is correct. So good. The third man suggested
for that they must convey their grievances to the British Parliament.
The third man suggested that
for that they must convey their grievances to the British Parliament.
Very well done, child. Children, the next activity is speaking and writing. I would like you to play act the role of farmers who have grievances against the policies of the government. Write their dialogues in speech bubbles. The next unit is The Fight for Freedom, 1857. Many former rulers like Begum Hazrat Mahal of Lucknow were bitter. She was very upset that the white man had taken away her kingdom. So they joined the upsurge against the foreigners. Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi also joined because her kingdom was being taken away from her under the policy of the doctrine of lapse. Because her son was adopted, the British wanted to annex her kingdom. They wanted to annex the kingdoms of a large number of other rulers as well. So popular leaders like Maulvi Ahmadullah of Faizabad told the people, "Rise, brothers, rise. The Angrez is ruining our land." The people rose everywhere, in Bareilly, Kanpur, Allahabad. Azimullah Khan told Tantia Tope, "We should have Peshwa Nana Sahib as our leader in this war of independence." And Nana Sahib did make a great leader. The patriots pounced upon the British and fought pitched battles all over North India. 80-year-old Kunwar Singh of Bihar received a bullet on his wrist and he cut off his arm and offered it to Ma Ganga, and yet he fought on. Here in this picture we see him cutting off his arm and offering it to Mother Ganga. He says, "Mother Ganga, this is my last offering to you." And he fought the war till his last breath. Children, let's do an activity now. I would like you to match the leaders of the revolt in column A with the places in column B. In the column A, the leaders are Bahadur Shah Zafar, Begum Hazrat Mahal, Maulvi Ahmadullah, Kunwar Singh, Rani Lakshmi Bai, Tantya Tope. And in column B, the places are Lucknow, Delhi, Bihar, Pune, Faizabad, Jhansi. Okay, children. Now I would like you to match Bahadur Shah Zafar with the city.
Delhi,
That is correct. Begum Hazrat Mahal,
Lucknow,
Maulvi Ahmadullah.
Faizabad,
Correct. Kumar Singh.
Bihar,
Correct. Rani Lakshmi Bai.
Jhansi,
Tantya Tope.
Pune.
Correct. Very well done, children. You've matched them all right. Children, as you have seen in this chapter, pictures speak louder than 1,000 words. These pictures have shown us the plight of our countrymen, the oppression that they faced at the hands of the British, and the strength that they showed as they fought for our freedom. This freedom that we have today is actually a struggle of thousands, rather millions of people of India for the past 2 centuries. It is thanks to them that we are a free country today. We must value this freedom and we must see to it that our country never ever becomes slave to another. We must protect our country and we must always show our patriotism as and when needed. So children, I hope you have understood this lesson. You will learn more about it in your history books.